Awesome. All right, and we're going to go ahead and start with introductions, and I'm going to let Erica introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I am Erica Freeman. I am a professor at UT Tyler, and I also have a clinical practice on the side, and I am the Nominations and Leadership Identification Committee, long name, state chair. Before that, I was the NLIC branch rep for the East Texas branch. Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Jess Riley. I am a BSW, got my BSW from St. Edward's University in Austin, Texas. I am the Community Engagement Coordinator for NASW Texas and am a staff member here at the chapter office in Austin. If y'all don't recognize me or haven't met me before, that's because I'm pretty new. I was an intern for NASW and graduated in May 21 as a BSW intern, and then somehow fumbled my way into a great situation and got hired on to do this awesome community organizing work. But I support volunteer leaders. So I think it's only appropriate that I'm on the call today just to kind of express to everyone here who's interested in pursuing leadership that my position was specifically created to engage our membership and empower and support our leaders who do the work to engage that membership on a day-to-day basis. So I worked with Erica to kind of put this presentation together. I work with branch chairs every month to make sure that everyone has what they need to succeed. I work with board reps to connect with their branch chairs. So whatever you're considering, you'll probably work with me at some point if you end up in a leadership role, but I'm going to let you take it away from there. Just wanted to give that overview of my position. Okay.
Fun thing to do. Let's start with an activity. You're probably just as excited as my students usually are. So it can be a little confusing to know where you are in terms of how NASW Texas is laid out and divided up. So there's regions, and there's few of those. And then within the regions, there are branches. So if you want to scan the QR code that's there on the screen, and if you don't already know what branch and region you are in, go ahead and do that now.
I just asked Taylor if she could find and drop the link in the chat because I know that some people aren't as savvy with the QRs. So that might be helpful.
Yes. So in the chat, there will be the link that will take you right to the website as well.
It's important for the rest of this presentation to know where you're located. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Oops, I accidentally clicked on it. And I was just going to say that when you go to this page, I guess I'm screen sharing. If you go to more in this section, yeah, there we go. I was going to say it actually is, for me, is easiest to look at the counties. So if you know your county, then maybe it's if this map's a little hard to read, then it can be helpful just to say, you know, okay, I live in Clay County, so I'm Red River Region 2, and those are the two things that you need to know for this presentation. Sorry, just wanted to be thorough with that.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And so we're going to make you tell us your region and your branch. Awesome. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll. Oh, here we go. We got some filtering in. But when I launch the poll, it'll automatically pop up on your screen. So if you're typing, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and launch it really quickly. And it's just basically to help us figure out where everybody's at. If you're here as an observer, you don't have to answer, because I know that some of us are current membership committee members and NLIC folks who are just kind of here to support and encourage. We have a few volunteer leaders on here who kind of pop in and chime in when prompted to talk about their experience and their role. So if that's you, you don't have to answer. But if you are here to learn for purpose of pursuing leadership, okay, awesome. I'm glad that I asked this because this helps me know who my audience is. Assessment. But it looks like right now, most folks, about half of the respondents, haven't decided if they want to be an NASW Texas leader yet. So we're all kind of, a lot of us are in the space of just trying to see what this is all about and figure out if this is something that's manageable for your lives. So that's awesome to know. And take it away, Erica. Let's start with open positions first, so people can kind of locate their branch and their region on this.
So there are a multitude of ways that you can get involved, and we're going to kind of hit the big ones right now, and then toward the end of the presentation we'll give you some other options, maybe some committee type of work that might be more appealing to you, or you might have time. So there's definitely a place for you anywhere and somewhere and allwhere. I started out on the steering committee and then ended up as an NLIC branch and then NLIC state chair. So you just never know where it's going to take you. So here we go. Branch chairs. As you can see, we have several openings for branch chairs. A lot of this happened as a result of COVID, and branches not be able to be as active as they would like.
I also want to clarify just real quickly, sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's good.
A lot of these branches on here technically have current branch chairs in them. It's just their election year and it's time for that cycle to happen. So we have a mix of, this is kind of a blend of open and vacant positions. So the ones with the asterisk that are interim appointments, that's just letting you know that that's actually currently vacant, and the ones with asterisks, there's no one there. The other ones actually do have leaders, but election season is supposed to be a competitive and involved process, right? Like if we want to encourage people to run for whatever they're interested in running for, regardless of whether there's someone there right now or not. But I just wanted to point that out, that a lot of these actually are active. They're just, it's their time to be put on the ballot.
Yes, so true. Good point. NLIC branch reps, however, on the other hand, those have been a little bit harder to come by. And it is a great way to get yourself acquainted with leadership within your branch and really get to know people. And we'll talk more about that here in just a moment. And these also, there are some interim people that are in that. I just didn't want to make the assumption, we didn't want to make the assumption that they would continue to do that. So they will be, those interim people will also be applying for leadership positions for the actual election time. And then we have a few, what do we have? 4 regional board representatives. So you would represent your region. That's why we wanted you to find your region on the board, on the state board. And then we have openings for the 2 student reps, MSW and BSW. We don't have PhD students are not assigned, they don't have a board representative because they can hold other duties, other leadership opportunities. And then we have the delegate assembly. We have the position 9. It's an at-large position. So those are the big ones.
And we're going to break all of this down. I guess one, I'm just kind of filling in what I think about it. That's all right. I was just going to say that for the board reps, region 9 is the one that's currently vacant. So it says interim appointment. That means that no one holds that right now. So just encouraging you, if you're in region 9, to consider that. Okay, great. And we're going to break down each of these roles. So if you have questions about these roles, good, because we're going to talk about each of these a little bit more in depth. But does anyone, I'm just going to pause for 1 second, make sure everyone has a chance to look at this. You know exactly what is going on in your area. And just also encouraging, if you don't see your branch or your region number on this, delegate assembly is an at-large position that anyone can participate in. So if your specific local opportunities are not open up or on the ballot for this year, that delegate assembly opportunity is still accessible to you. And most of these things are engagement through virtual means. And it's rare travel that's intentional. So I wanted to say that all of those things as well. Okay. Anything else for this slide, Erica? Or want to keep moving?
No, we can just keep moving.
Okay. And if at any point anyone has any questions, like you can throw them in the chat or you can come off mute to raise your hand, any of that.
Yes. All right, so here's the nitty gritty. This is a snapshot of what a branch chair often does. As you can see, we've got the qualifications at the very beginning. It's pretty basic. You just need to be an NASW Texas current member in good standing. And this is someone who is either elected or appointed, like for an example, an interim appointment. And you really, the basics of this is that you lead and coordinate at your local level. So if you want to be very involved in your community with other social workers and doing events, you're the leader there. And you can, I won't read them aloud to you, but there's several responsibilities that you have. But the nice thing, like in most social work opportunities, is that you have the ability to kind of create the position to be the way you want. Some branches have a lot of face-to-face meetings and are very involved, and others meet quarterly. Some have Zoom meetings. It's really up to you. So you can put on your creative hat for this.
And we do have a current branch chair on the call with us. Pam, I was wondering if you might just take 2 minutes. And I guess I would just like to ask you what the most surprising part of the branch chair experience has been for you. I didn't prep anyone for these questions, by the way. These are all on the spot. So just throwing that out there for all the leaders that I do this to.
I didn't know anything, so it was all surprising. But I just started, I think the month before the conference, and I really didn't know much. I'd been an NASW member for like 27 years, but I was living in Huntsville and Texas, and it was pretty far, from any meetings in Houston, of which I was a part. And then I moved to Galveston, and for the first time, I didn't really know my colleagues, and I really didn't know that much about local resources, and that, bothered me. So I wanted to get to know other people in my branch better, and I have done that. I've met a bunch of good people, and I've learned a lot about the different resources. And but I would say that Jess has been great, and there's a lot of different trainings, and you can request one-on-ones, and they've got a lot of materials to look at. And so it took me a couple weeks to figure it out, how much there was there for you. It's just peeling the layers of the onion kind of thing, learning a little bit how this works, a little bit at a time.
Thank you so much for that, Pam. That was really great. I definitely can relate to some of that. And I think too, part of that kind of peeling back the layers is that you were an interim appointment, right? So you didn't get to go to the Leadership Institute. So that's also something, good opportunity, a good segue for me to just really highlight the importance of that as well. So anyone on this call that pursues leadership in the kind of traditional timeline of everything should be able to participate in that. And that's really where we talk about, what your needs are going to be for your community, and really pull on the expertise of those who have been successful in these roles. And yeah, again, kind of uncover where those resources are. So I really appreciate that experience, and you've been great to work with. But anything else about branch chair? I'm going to kick it back to you, Erica. I just wanted to give Pam a shout out and let her share.
Oh, thank you, Pam. Yes, and you can contact either Jess or me, Erica, and we can definitely get you a branch chair mentor if you're interested, to kind of get you started. There's lots and lots of support here for you. So just know that.
True. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Virginia.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say, when I got elected to the board back in the early 2000s, 2008, I think, going to the Sandra Lopez Leadership Institute in July, that was so very important. And I just want to say to the attendees on the call, was very, very helpful and very important for me, because not only did I meet other people who were newly, elected and hadn't been in these positions before. Obviously, there were other people there who already had some experience in these areas, so we could chat with them. But having the structure of the institute was very important. I mean, it's not anything that's a week long or anything like that, but for whether it's a day or 2 days or however it's being done now, it really took a deep dive into what was expected, and everybody being able to ask questions and, I'm not really sure I understand, or, can you go into more detail about X, Y, and Z, and getting some tactile, tools in hand. Really, really helpful. So I just want the attendees on this call to know that if you nominate yourself, for a particular position, and then you do get elected, in addition to being able to email and call and talk to Erica and Jess, about different things, and look on the, website and all that, going to the Institute is extremely important and extremely helpful. I just found it invaluable, so,
Thanks for that.
please look forward to that.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it's an exclusive offer. You gotta nominate yourself and be a leader to participate. So no free entry. Gotta put in the work. Just kidding. Em, do you have a quick comment or question? I am gonna call on you whenever we talk about student stuff though.
Yeah, so I might be getting ahead of myself, but I know for myself personally, I was going to just speak to the same experience with Sandra Lopez.
Sure.
As a bachelor's student rep, coming in, despite how well I knew you and how well I knew some of the people on the call, it was still pretty intimidating, and it
Mhm.
eases the nerves to have those conversations. And it's in some ways empowering. It gives you some professional development as well, going through your BSW or your MSW, and Zoom etiquette at its finest. So that was what I had to say.
Thank
Please
you
don't
so
ask me
much.
crazy questions. I will cry.
I won't. And so yeah, that being said, Sandra Lopez is going to be kind of mentioned on a lot of these slides, because that's something that we try to provide to all of our volunteer leaders. So that's kind of a universal experience there. Does anyone have any questions about the branch chair role? I think for those who are considering it, you probably have a good understanding of it. So let's keep moving. Go ahead, Eric.
Okay. I think Raheem is on the call. So if he wants to add anything, I know he's pretty new to this. I won't put him on the spot, although I sort of just did. So this is each branch has a nominations and leadership identification person, representative, that we work together to identify people in the branch area that may want leadership positions. So this is again a really good place to plug in if you've never been in a leadership role in NASW Texas, because you can meet so many different people. If you enjoy meeting people, it's a really good fit for you. You get to help plan an award ceremony, identify community members. It's a really, if you enjoy the social aspect of social work, this is a great fit for you. And it's a 2-year term, and you are not eligible to be reelected right after that for that position. So, you can serve your 2-year time and enjoy yourself and know that you're not going to get roped into 10 years of it. So I know sometimes that can be a thought like, oh, I'll do a good job and then I'll have to stay in this. No, you can move around. So Raheem, did you want to say anything? He was appointed recently. He stood up and took a interim position. We were so thankful for that.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think the main thing behind it for me, I did wanted to get active with the NASW. I've been a part of the NASW for almost over a decade, but I've never actually taken an active role in leadership. And it just so happened I was on my email one day and I saw that they had an opening in the Alamo branch. I'm a military social worker, so I've been all over the globe, really living in different areas. And although I always paid my dues, I never really paid attention to the emails. Why that day? I don't know why, but I did. That was the first thought that came in my mind. And that's something that I would want to share and pass on to everyone, is that we all are busy. Time management is of the essence, but whatever time you can give to give back, to pay it forward, I definitely encourage you to do so. And if it enters your brain, there's this thing I have now with this 5-second rule thing, that if it enters your brain, is meant for you to act on it. You have 5 seconds to act on it. Just go ahead and make the call, and that's what I did. I sent the email right away. I didn't try to close out my email account. I was like, nope, it entered my brain. I'm just going to trust it. And I just didn't know I was going to get selected so fast. It was like, it was like in 24 hours. I was like, oh, so my heart started, had heart palpitations and everything. But it's been good so far, because I got to network. I got to meet some really good people, and you're not left alone. You can always ping any of the representatives if you have any questions. But this gives me an opportunity to learn the social workers in the area, learn what they're doing, and encourage them to put them in for different awards and things like that. So, and then hold others accountable for putting their people in awards. So this is really a great opportunity for me, and I plan on being a part of some form of leadership in the NASW for years to come. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to have so many great leaders. I feel like we had so many new additions this past year, and it's just been wonderful to really explore that. But thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions about NLIC or anything else? We have lots of open NLIC spots, which is why that appointment was such a quick turnaround, right? I think sometimes, unfortunately, what happens is if we don't have an NLIC person, then the branch chair, kind of gets saddled with some of the responsibilities. And honestly, it's such a partnership between NLIC and branch chair, because the way to put on activities and lead and coordinate in your community as a branch chair is to have people recruited to help you do that. So if you don't have someone kind of actively recruiting to build a local support system, then you don't have all of the tools you need to succeed, right? The most successful branches are the ones with strong steering committees. Mm-hmm. And that means an NLIC role that is keeping that steering committee strong. So I just really want to encourage all that. It's not just about having a chair, it's about having every piece of the puzzle. So anyways. Let's talk about board reps.
Okay, so this is where your region comes into play. You have your branches, which are more local, and then you have your bigger area, which is your region. And each region has a board representative that meets, the board meets 4 times a year, and you go to represent members in your region and talk about things that are important to them, help make decisions on behalf of NASW Texas, even though there's just 4 meetings a year, there's a lot more that goes on behind it. You get to be really involved. You get the nitty gritty.
I'm just going to add one thing. It's been beautiful to watch kind of how involved the board reps can be in their branch's success. And so I wish that I had put together an org chart to really help y'all visualize. I meant to do that and it just didn't happen. I see, the board reps as representing these larger regions kind of at the chapter level. And those regions have several branches within them, right? The region board reps support the branch chairs, and the branch chairs support the members, and the chapter staff support all of them. So I wanted to just explain that a little bit, because I see the region board rep as leaders supporting leaders and the branch chair as leaders supporting members. So kind of trying to figure out where you fit in that. Are you trying to make the major decisions on behalf of the chapter, or are you trying to do some of the event planning and community engagement at the local level? I think those are the kind of the differences between those two. And I've heard confusion in the past from folks about that. So I wanted to describe that in a way that was not complicated. I don't know if I completely succeeded, but awesome.
So this one is a little different in terms of terms. So you're elected for a 2-year term, and then you can serve again. You can become reelected if that is your choice. And then you have served 4 years. So there's that.
And let's see, I don't know if we have a current board rep on the call, but as Virginia said, she is a previous board rep and she is on the membership committee and knows a bunch about NASW. So if anyone has any additional questions, I'm just gonna volunteer her. You can reach out to her to ask about that experience. But okay, let's just keep moving because I want to make sure we have like protected time for like questions and sharing and all that. Okay, student board rep.
Yay! Yes. So, Emily, do you feel comfortable talking about this, or kind of giving a overview of your experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
So obviously I'm not Teray. She's in Cape Town at this point, I think. But the BSW and the MSW student board representative is a pretty cool experience. You get to represent obviously your academic level, and like it says, you have to have 2 semesters left. So I've been doing it. This is my last year with undergrad, so it's been a really cool experience. We represent the board with concerns of BSW or MSW students. So that recently has been our testing and membership. And then alongside that, we look at and approve our legislative policies. And then we provide input on our conference committee and student planning, which has been pretty fun. And then if you're me, you're on the finance committee, and we start looking at finances as well. So we attend the 4 board meetings, and like I said, they're not super bad, and Erica is totally right. We get done pretty efficiently, right, Erica? Yeah. And I think they're a great professional development. I think if you want to learn about how you can be almost in a macro level position without, having the macro money or whatever, this is a great way to do it. I personally, working with Jess for now, I think it's been 2 years because I started with student membership a year ago. It has helped me learn so many skills for my internship that I just started, and like research and talking to people, engaging things. And it's been a really great experience. So I'm very lucky to have had it. It definitely gave me a lot of support when I was making big decisions. So yeah, all good things.
Thanks, Sam. I'm glad that you're able to hop on. I'm not
Yes.
sure if we have too many students, but I think they may be 1 or 2 in here. So I'm glad that we gave it its own slide. But just to reemphasize, student board representatives are full voting members of the board, right? Like, we are accountable to our profession, and that is a wide net of people who are currently practicing, people who are retired, people who are studying and in school. So we want to make sure that everyone's fully represented. But yeah, help our students get connected. And let's talk about the delegate assembly, and then that's the last one. I did not finish this slide, but I tried my best.
So this is the one where we have the at-large one. There's one position open right now that's up for election, and it's a 3-year term, and you are eligible for re-election. I'm not as versed in this particular
I can take it.
leadership. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, I can take it, because I think that this is one that I have also kind of struggled to wrap my mind around. How I would describe it, and these conversations I've had with other folks who are on the delegate assembly, is it's really about how I said, like here, like review and inform. So there are the positions that exist on the delegate assembly. A lot of them are specific to practice area. We have like aging and child and family, and oh, I know the other ones. I just looked at the list, but there's several that are very kind of specific. And so the role would be then to represent that group and ensure that the day-to-day activities of the chapter and what we put out to membership are accountable to those groups, right? Making sure that we're well representing the people in our membership.
I think
But the
there's
at-large
one on
position-
mental health too.
Mental health, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so it's definitely practice areas and populations based, but we have, I think, 2 at-large positions and one of them is open. So this is the one that basically anyone can be a part of, regardless of where you're located. We're just trying to ensure that we are working towards our mission, essentially. And so they're a decision-making body. A little less connected to the regional local structure, though. It's kind of its own committee that allows us to do what we do, if that makes sense.
Jess, this is Kara Spear.
Hi, Kara. You didn't
I
chime in
was-
and help us?
Recently a delegate and got
Great.
to be
So
in
glad you're
on
on.
got to be in on the changes of the code of ethics. That was really neat because I've always thought so highly of the code of ethics, and to get to be in the assembly when we were making the changes, although it was very controversial, we really it was just really neat. I always tell my students about that. I got to be in on the 2021 changes of the code of ethics. So it is kind of dull at times and then exciting at others to be in the delegate assembly.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Definitely, reviewing professional standards, like when we say that we do that, who does that, right? Like people, members, social workers that have been elected and appointed and have the responsibility of doing those things. So that's awesome, Kara, that you got to participate in that. And I also touched base with Will before this, and I said, I don't know if I am totally confident in my delegate assembly knowledge, but he said that if anyone has more questions about that, to reach out to him and he can answer anything that you have about that. So I did already get his permission to put everything onto him.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. And now we're gonna talk about other ways to get involved. And I'm just kind of whip through this and make sure that we have time for questions. But I guess I wanted to say that, we really are encouraging a participatory and competitive election process where we have people, from all over pursuing leadership in their local areas. But that means that not everyone who puts something for their number 1 spot is going to be chosen for that. So I want to encourage you that even if you don't get your first spot, you may be, the form actually asks you to select your top 3. So you may end up somewhere else. But you could also just get involved with your steering committee. So even if you're not branch chair, even if you're not NLIC, you could be any member of the steering committee. And steering committees look different depending on what branch. So some branches have very distinct pieces of the steering committee, like social media chair and event coordinator and student representatives at the branch level. Like there are so many kind of different things that you can do with a steering committee. And we really encourage branches to have autonomy with that, kind of build the steering committee in a way that makes sense for you. And so I would just encourage all, so if you don't end up pursuing leadership, or if you don't get the position that you really wanted, still stay involved. Like, don't let that deter you. And the steering committee is a very easy way to just start doing stuff, plan an event, attend, planning meetings. Like it can be, that's an easy way to get your foot in the door.
Well, and the other thing is communication,
Yes.
having somebody on the branch steering committee who maybe puts out a monthly or quarterly or whatever it is, branch newsletter, it doesn't have to be anything big, but, just some sort of communication to make sure that everybody in that branch knows what's going on with the branch.
Yeah, that's a crucial piece to most steering committees. So thank you for saying that. And then the other aspects of it are just statewide committees. So here are some statewide committees. And the ones that are bolded are currently recruiting, but none of this is mutually exclusive. We have tons of folks who are branch chairs and members of committees, or board reps and members of committees, those types of things. So I just want to encourage you to that. But I am co-chairing the membership committee, member and leadership engagement committee. And we need more members. So hit me up if you're interested in doing things like this. And also these equity committees are recruiting, and TPACE, which is our Texas Political Action for Candidate Election Committee, is also recruiting, and that deadline is January 31st. So if you are all policy all the time, that is a good place for you. And you can, I'm pretty sure you can still serve on TPACE and other leadership. I don't see why not. So that's also something you can do. But just wanted to let y'all know about those. And a few announcements kind of for Deanna, our events and communications director, just because this is a great group of leaders who probably would be interested in these things. So if anyone has attended our conference, it's absolutely wonderful. It happens in October, and in this next October, 12th through 14th, it will be in Galveston for our number 47. And we are calling for proposals right now. So if you're interested in presenting at conference in October and would like to submit a proposal to do that, please submit that by February 8th. And also we need people to help read those proposals. So if you're interested in that and you want to help review those proposals and select the best ones for our conference and really build that itinerary, please get involved in that. And it's about 1 to 3 hour commitment. And if you would like to do any of those things, go to our website. There's a big banner that says conference is coming up, call for proposals. If you click on it, there's a whole page of information. This is very much a snapshot. So get involved. Conference is amazing. And the other part of conference is the marketing subcommittee needs help. So submit proposals, help review proposals, and help get the word out about exhibitors and sponsors if you're interested. What's up, Virginia?
Before you go to the question and answer period, there's a couple of questions that came up on chat, and I know Eric is gone. One is, are BSW and MSW positions the only way for student members to participate?
That's a great question. No, absolutely not. We are not here to tell students what they can and cannot do. If you are passionate and driven and you want to be an NLIC rep, you can be an NLIC rep. I just want to also warn you that it is definitely a kind of a professional commitment, right? So I just want to encourage you, you know, those student positions are really just designated student seats at the table. But you are an individual, and I encourage you to get involved in any way that you feel comfortable. And if you would like to be more involved as a local leader, then do that. Yeah. There's nothing preventing you from doing that.
There's another question. Somebody wants to know how to apply for one of the committees.
Absolutely. So I was just going to say this because I think this is the easiest way to do it. Thank you for saying that. I meant to mention it on the last 2 slides. If you are interested in being on any of those equity committees or any of the strategic planning committees, just send me an email and I will connect you to the chair of those committees, because I have a whole list and spreadsheet of who chairs what, and I would love to get you connected to the right person. That's the easiest way for me to do this so that I don't have to share everyone's email on these slides. And I'm going to drop my email in the chat right now.
While you do that, I got some questions from the chat.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Virginia, for helping with that.
And I think we're literally done, so I'm just going to go ahead and thank you questions where we're at. So
let's start with the questions in the chat, and then people can raise their hands. Is there a committee related to rural community mental health? There is not, but I love that idea.
I love that idea too, honestly. But I will say too that that perspective is valuable in a lot of different spaces. And so I just wanted to say that as well, that conversation can be brought up to the table as a board member, as a branch chair, as an NLIC rep, as a, as part of the membership committee. Like, that's something that we could talk about, and how to connect with those social workers and those populations. So even though there's not a specific committee, get involved and make it happen. Okay. Any other questions?
Asking if they could watch the presentation again. I know we're recording it.
Yes, it'll be accessible. And I also am going to send an email to everyone who registered. So if you are here, then you have registered.
Awesome. And then to be a student rep, whether BSW or MSW, do you have to have 2 semesters left of BSW or MSW program? And what if
Yes.
the school has trimesters, not semesters?
I think that we are trying to just say, be a student for the full length of the term. And so like a general academic year is, I think, what we're trying to say. We're flexible with however that works out for you. But if you graduate in 3 months, then we urge you to allow that opportunity to someone who will be a student for the entire time. Elizabeth, go ahead.
So I know you said that student members can apply to like different positions as well.
Sure.
What if like you don't wind up getting elected to any of the positions? Like, can you still participate in the committees and stuff?
Yes. Oh yeah. Committees are definitely, we need student voices in those, honestly. Yeah. It's important to have intergenerational input in everything that we do. And I will say too, for the membership committee, we do a lot of student engagement. And I don't think we have enough students on that committee. Like, I really don't. I think we have people represented who are in academia, right? We have like faculty on that committee, but I think it's important to have more student perspectives on that. So if I can convince you to join the membership committee, I will.
Jess Riley.
Yes.
So what I was also going to say is before I became a student rep, I was also on the steering committee, and then life got busy, and I'm still technically on it, but life has been a little bit crazy.
Right.
But steering committee is a great way to get
Thank
involved.
you for saying that. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have every local branch's structure memorized, but I will say that a lot of our branches have specifically delegated spots for students on their steering committee, typically to represent like the needs of students. And some will even have specific spots for students based on their school. So I wanted to say that too, that there may be 2 or 3 colleges and universities in the area. There may be 2 or 3 positions on the steering committee that are supposed to be held by students who attend there. So that's also something to look into, is, you know, using that kind of find your region branch, that's a good place to start digging, kind of reaching out to the branch chair current and seeing what's up with that. But, you know, we provided a lot of ways to get involved. I do want to once again, though, re-emphasize the importance of these elected positions. Committees are highly valuable, but the work of those committees is highly amplified by a connection to these grassroots local organizations that we are creating through branches. So I wanted to say that too, that if your branch is struggling and you're thinking about just joining a committee because it might be easier, I really encourage you to take the leap and step up to the one that might seem a little bit more intense, because you will have support to navigate that. And you can do more than one if you're really into it. But I just wanted to say that don't be scared of the big ones. Anyone else have any final questions or thoughts? Y'all have just been a phenomenal and engaged audience. Taylor, can we make sure we drop the nomination? I guess it's really just that bit.ly, but yeah, I guess also I want to say, if when you have any questions about the nomination process, it's pretty straightforward once you start doing it. But essentially, so elections don't actually happen until April, but the deadline to actually nominate yourself for that is February 10th. So make sure to get those nominations in, and then you'll be receiving communications kind of about next steps and what the actual kind of election process is going to be. But our NLIC and state leaders are a part of considering kind of who is going where and who is elected for what. So I actually have never been a part of that process myself, so I can't tell you too much about it. And then, yeah, once that happens, then we'll have a new slate, and it'll be really exciting, and we'll have the Leadership Institute, and everyone will get situated, and you'll meet your new cohort, and you're going to be a part of this really amazing thing. But yeah, that's the process in a summary.
Jess and I will be breaking up. It'll be a sad day.
It'll be really sad. I know. I've gotten really close with the student board reps. I started this role as a student engagement coordinator, so that was my in was that relationship.
you'll get text messages about life at SMU and how it's something.
Okay, well, if anyone has any questions, you can follow up with me. You can follow up with Erica. Oh, yay! I'm so glad. So that actually was a part of a phone bank that a couple folks participated in, but it was a partnership between membership committee and NLIC to make sure that all of the members and all of our vacant branch areas were touched by somebody. And so yeah, I'm so glad that we had great people participating in that. And the fact that someone is on the call because of that phone bank and because of the conversation you have with them, Virginia, that just shows that the effort to connect makes a difference. So thanks y'all so much for all of your time, and I'll follow up with the recording and the slide deck. But don't forget to submit your nominations by February 10th. Take a leap, see what happens. Pursue a committee if you don't get it. It's going to be great.
Do it.
Bye. Have a good
Bye.
evening.
Bye, Jess. See you in April.